One of my favorite things in the world is hanging out with Dr. Julie Hanks. Now, she's one of my favorite girls because I feel like every time we hang out together, we solve all the problems of the planet. So we met for lunch at Fat Jack's Burger Emporium downtown, and here's what happened. I can't believe that it's literally like 2 or 3 weeks before the kids are going back to school, and that got me started thinking about like my Zoe and her escapades last year in first grade, and well, this happened and that happened, and is that bullying, Mom? And I'm like, no, that's actually you taking him down to the ground, honey, but I'm glad that you're tough. But she did too. But
oh my gosh.
But bullying is a big deal, and
It is.
I think people think about it. I guess the first thing is there a difference between cyberbullying and actually someone hitting you or saying something cruel to your face at school?
I mean, in some ways it's different, but it doesn't feel different, right? The same parts of the brain that are activated when physical hurt happens are activated with social exclusion.
That's so interesting.
If you feel isolated, it actually hurts.
That makes sense.
Right?
You're right, yeah.
So there's, it's different if someone's standing in front of you, because they're standing in front of you, but the pain is still the same. The pain is what's the same.
That's
so
an
whether
interesting
it's
designation.
virtual or in person, it all hurts.
Let's start with virtual maybe, because that seems to be one of the biggest issues right now. And also we're seeing higher incidence of depression and suicide and a host of other miseries that go with this. What is the main thing you're seeing, and unfortunately as parents, what can we do?
Well, the first thing is to monitor your kids' online behavior. And that means know their passwords, know what accounts they're on, and check them periodically.
Mom, what about privacy? Don't I get any privacy?
There's no such thing as privacy online because someone else can hack into your account. That's what I say.
That's perfect. It's hard to argue with that.
Right. And if you just start out, when they get the phone or the iPod, look, this is our family policy. Part of having this is that we will ask you to turn it over and we will check things.
Now, I know that we've talked about this before, Dr. Julie Hanks, and you had said at the time that you didn't let your kids have internet connection phones until they were 18, so that they couldn't really even utilize the internet. Do you still stand by that?
Yeah, they use the internet but not browsing.
Okay.
So they have approved apps that they can use.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but they don't have a browser where they can just search the internet for whatever they want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
Okay, so first thing is you're going online. What are some of the warning signs that parents should be looking for? Because the lingo is pretty tricky. I mean, there's a lot of slick stuff that I may or may not know, and I'd like to believe that I'm, hip.
Well, yeah. What you want to watch for really is your child's behavior. If something changes, if all of a sudden their mood changes or their eating changes or sleeping, you want to be watching for those behavioral changes because that's going to give you a clue. Well, maybe I need to check and see what's happening online or what's happening at school with friends, because they're going to exhibit something that shows that they're in pain. One thing we haven't talked about is limiting technology and limiting social media.
Explain how would you delve into that, because you're right. If you could cut off part of the problem at the source, that makes sense. But for anybody, I'm the one who goes into like anxiety, acute anxiety. If I don't have my phone, it was on my lap and it just dropped on the floor. And I'm like, my phone is on the floor. My phone is on the floor.
Oh my gosh!
So I mean, knowing our children are even more plugged in, how do you handle this one?
Well, one of the things you can do is to make sure that they don't have their phones in their bedrooms. So charge them in the hall or in parents' bedroom.
Yeah.
Because sometimes some of this mean stuff happens when kids are tired and they're just doing. They're not.
I'm pissy, and you're going to hear it.
Yeah. So kind of limit it that way. I would definitely support the minimum age for social media accounts is generally 13. So if you have a younger child than that, I would definitely not let them have social media. And 13 doesn't mean that they automatically get social media, right? Because
you know your child's maturity, or ideally we should, and what they're ready for and what they're not.
And then you can also limit, like, okay, which one platform do you want to be on?
Ooh.
Do you want to be on Instagram? Do you want to be on Twitter? Do you which Snapchat? What do you want to? And then you have access to that account.
Very smart. Okay, cool. This at least gives us a starting point to work with, because it's such a stressful and scary thing.
And it's common, and it's happening so much. And people will say things digitally that they wouldn't say to your face, and that's that's kind of a new development since we grew up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You have to say
so
it to
much
their
crueler.
face.
Yeah.
You have to say it to their face before, and now.
Yeah, exactly, and
Yeah.
it's so much more brutal. Okay, one thing I haven't asked you in past interviews, you have like a website that's like a wealth of all kinds of interesting information, and of course you have a practice, and you know a lot of excellent counselors. Is there a place they can go for more information?
Yeah, WasatchFamilyTherapy.com.
WasatchFamilyTherapy.com.
DrJulieHanks.com, drjuliehanks.com.
I love that you have a PhD. It makes me so proud.
Thank you.
It's nice to know all the smart chicks. Thank you.
Thanks, Erin.
I want one of those croutons, and I'm going to take
Have it. Have it.
Cucumber. Oh, cucumber. You're one of those people who dips your fork in the damn dressing, aren't you? Yeah, you are. You're one of those. You don't slop it over the whole damn thing.
Sometimes.
Like the rest of us.
I'm trying to be dainty because like we're on camera here.
On camera or not, I've never been able to pull that off.